On the 5th day of a particularly fast Pokemon draft, teams are finalized. Against all odds, we are already done. This is day 5. My team is the Velvet Orthworms. My draft is done. It finished overnight. Here is the final team. Not quite what I was expecting. It's a bit unusual, but you know what? I do like it. I think that I've got lots of funny guys. I do like Grafaiai a lot as a Pokemon. I kind of hated it when it was first announced, but it's really grown on me. I'm interested to see how my team does. There's a few Pokemon that I'm considering switching out as the season goes on with my free agencies. Bisharp, I could see it underperforming. Same with Gligar. Both of my Tera captains, I could switch out. Torterra plus Golurk, or Torterra plus some other guy, something I'm considering. I just have to bear in mind that, like, if I get rid of Bisharp, there isn't a steel that's as good as Bisharp, so I'm going to have to get something that can Tera into steel. That's what I did last season. I didn't have a steel type until the end when I got Orthworm, but for most of the season I didn't have a steel type. I just had a Lantern that could Tera steel. I know I'm playing the Orthworms this season, but I'm not going to draft Orthworm. It's way too passive for this team. I don't want anything that's going to totally sink all my momentum. But I could use like a wall breaker. I think that Rhyperior is quite an interesting option. Basically, I get 1 10 or 11 cost and then 1 cheaper Tera Captain. I'd have to swap Bisharp out for Rhyperior, and then I could take a lower cost defensive thing that could turn into a steel type. Or I don't need a steel type. I do have all of my resistances covered without Bisharp, but Bisharp does so much work patching the holes. Normal, flying, psychic, rock, and dragon. Bisharp gives me the redundancy that I need. Now, I'll do a detailed team breakdown video separately. I'll do a Meet the Velvet Earthworms video, where I go into more details about how the team works. But, one thing at a time. I want to put out my Gladios video, which I've been sort of driving myself mad trying to finish. And I'm going to have to do a Pikachu video. I'm going to let the first Pikachu video run its course, because I want to get all the comments and then make sure that I'm thorough about fixing all the mistakes, because I don't want to have to make a third video. Well, if it turns out that they get thousands of views every time I make them, maybe I do want to make a third video. But if I put my heart into it, I can make other videos that are actually about compelling topics and not just ramble. Look at this. 8,591. Ooh, but my like percentage has gone down to 94%. I've got 29 dislikes on my Pikachu video. Now, obviously you can't see dislikes on YouTube anymore, but I can tell you I have 494 likes and 29 dislikes. So that's probably because of all the bad math that I did. But 8,000 views is absolutely insane. That's more than 10 times higher than my previous best video. So thanks. It's wonderful. I mean, of course, it is the kind of question that the world really needs to know the answer to. Like, how many Pikachu are possible? It's something that everyone in their life wonders at least once. I think every child has a moment where they're, you're out on the playground playing tag, and you've been tagged, and you see a victim who you could go and tag, and you're chasing them, and then you just stop in your tracks and you think, wait, how many Pikachu are actually possible though? And then the bell rings, and then you're still in, and then everyone makes fun of you because you were in at the end of lunch. That's just a common occurrence in every life, I think. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's the Velvet Orthworms. They're done. We have a pony, an ugly man coming back from last season, an otter with a sword face, an ugly woman from last season. I guess maybe Sneasler and an Amoris are sort of the representation of Hisuian grotesque forms. We have a microwave. We have a mangosteen. We have another man. A lot of men, don't we? Let's have a look. Well, we got 2 men and 2 women. At least we're keeping the gender balance intact. And we've got a bat, and we've got, what is he really? An eye. Have you guys seen eyes? I know Grafaiai is kind of ugly, but look at this guy. Isn't he insane? What a creature. What an absolute creature. I mean, wow. Wow, what a creature. We love eyes. I could take a Flittle. Flittle's probably the best one-pointer, in my opinion. I think it's a bit underrated because it can do what Isparthra does with stored power and stuff, but it can actually Terra, unlike Isparthra, so you can Terra fighting. Now, it's a Flittle, it's got terrible stats, but if you're like +4 special attack, special defense, and speed, who cares that your base stats are low? Well, you still care, because even at +4 speed, you're still like not that fast. And you will die to the faintest wind or physical attack, or even strong special attack probably. But you might kill something, you might sweep. Once everyone else is finished with their teams, Grace will start, and then I can switch Pokemon out. So I could switch out some of these guys. We'll see who's left. I'll be back for that. For the last part of the video, I'm just going to go over the teams as they're finished. So I won't do it in order. We'll just have a look at the teams as they finish. Here are the Kinglers. They're a pretty nice balanced team with this defensive trio and some offensive powerhouses. Their last picks were Berserker and Arcanine. I quite like Terra Berserker because you can Terra Steel with Steely Spirit and get crazy multipliers on your Iron Heads. And Arcanine is just a nice pick. It's got strong attack stat and it's decently fast. And it also has Will-O-Wisp and Morning Sun. So it's got longevity and it can make some guaranteed progress by burning the opponent. So overall, this team looks really strong. I think all of the Pokemon can do something. I think that there aren't any like truly deadweight Pokemon. It's cool to have Inteleon and Berserker as your two Terra Captains. I like that as a combo. Strong special attacker, strong physical attacker. Probably never want to bring both, but they definitely excel against different teams, and that's what you want with your Terra Captains. Galvantula gives them a Webs option. They can go like full offensive if they want, or they can bring their defensive core and try to outlast the opponent. It's just a nice place to be for the Kinglers. I think it's really good. Ladies and gentlemen, our third pick team enters the arena. With Dragapult and Weavile for offensive damage, Iron Treads to clear hazards and provide support, Terra Indeedee and Hawlucha for a little bit of psychic terrain, and Vespiquen and Gogoat as random guys who are also here. We have the Indianapolis Pawnyards. Round of applause, people. I actually really like Terra Vespiquen. I mean, Gogoat is a Gogoat. We don't care about Gogoat. I drafted it last time and then dropped it because I didn't like it. But Vespiquen's cool. It's got like actually good stats. It's like really good defensive stats. It's kind of like Bronzong or something. Terrible typing, but that's why you make it your Terra Captain. I think it has potential. Go Pawnyards. In the fifth corner, we have Focus Miss, bringing a bulky offense team with the strong hitters of Gouging Fire, Landorus Therian, Terrapagos, and Ogerpon Wellspring. They have a Strange Foxman and a piece of cream as their Terra Captains, and they have drafted Cutie Fly and Kilowattrel as their last two picks. Now, Kilowattrel's pretty good, just as like a fast electric type pivot, pretty good, but Cutie Fly is probably the strongest Pokemon to ever grace the earth with its presence, and we should all tremble in fear at the sheer power that this beast brings to Focus Miss. In the sixth corner, we have the Toucannon Plot Armors. With a clean, honest, balanced team, the Toucannons hope to win by just being better. They have attackers like Great Tusk and Meowscarada. They have defensive Pokemon like Great Tusk and Gudra Hisui. They have hazard clearers like Great Tusk and Galarian Weezing. They have utility Pokemon like Great Tusk and Rotom Wash. And they have the Terra Captains, Decidueye, and the newcomer Pyroar joining the team. They also have this guy, Bellybolt, who's really funny. In the 16th corner, we have the Waterloo Weepinbell, who've drafted Typhlosion and Thwackey as their last two Pokemon. Typhlosion is their second Terra. It appreciates the extra coverage from Terra Blast because its coverage isn't that great, but it does have some options. Again, pretty honest team. Just pivots around, does big damage, builds a lot of different ways. Honest, balanced gameplay. In the 14th corner, we have the Guilty Garchomps, playing a crazy Dragon Spam team with 3 Dragon types, Noivern, Kyurem, and Garchomp. They've just added their Terra Captains, Charizard, and Toedscruel. Now, I think a lot is riding on Toedscruel having good defensive Terra types because this team has some real problems against ice and fairy types. So this Toad Scroll is going to need Tera Steel, I think. I think it's going to need Tera Steel, and it's going to be very, very important to bring it. Now, it is weak to ice quadruply to begin with, so it's their third quadruple ice weakness. However, that's okay. They just have to Terror it right off the bat if they think that there's going to be a lot of ice moves in the tier. In the 13th corner, we have the Trondheim Rosenspores, with Cryogonal and Sableye rounding out the team. With this team kind of has a double Bolt Beam thing going on with their Terra Captains, because Jolteon kind of likes Terra Ice to break through the grass and ground and dragon types that wall it, and Cryogonal kind of likes Terra Electric because it has Levitate, so when it becomes an electric type, it has no weaknesses, and electric helps it defeat the water and steel types that wall it. So maybe double Bolt Beam seems pretty potent. I like the Trondheim Rosenspores team, but I would not be brave enough to draft it myself. The good news is that the Halo have finally drafted their Sunsetter as their final Pokemon. The worrisome news is that it's Vulpix. It's not Ninetales or Torkoal. They didn't have to worry about being sniped. They've taken Vulpix. Now, I'm not sure if they have cooked up a genius strategy or if they've set fire to the kitchen, because surely you could switch Scaladirge out for Ninetales and then not have to bring Vulpix. Like, it just seems like you really want Sun, but if you're bringing Vulpix, are you going to bring Scaladirge as well? I guess so. But then you could just have, like, a usable fire type that also set the Sun. I don't know, though. I might be missing the genius of Vulpix, but I'm kind of like, maybe do this little arrangement. And then you'd even get a few more points. You might be able to put Donphan on the team instead of Hitmontop and have a slightly better spinner. Although maybe you want Hitmontop over Donphan because you've got a ground type. But having said all that, I think this team is still really strong. It just terrifies me because I've been anxious all draft about them getting a Sunsetter, and they got one, but it's not who I was expecting. But that's okay. I mean, they certainly like the Sun with Roaring Moon, Walking Wake, Screamtail, and Sandy Sharks. They've also got Terra Trevenant, which can use Harvest to stay alive for ages in the sun. It's a cool team. It's a Sun team. We like Sun teams, although we don't like fighting Sun teams because they're pretty strong in draft. In the 11th corner, we have the birds. Look at all of those wonderful birds. They are all birds. They are bird-like. They have wings. They have feathers. They have really, really efficient lungs. They've got a very different lung structure to mammals like us. They have hollow bones to help them with flight. They have cloacas. They have slightly different chromosomal assortments to us. So we have XX and XY as our two chromosomes. And the females of our species are homozygous. The males are heterozygous. With birds, the males are homozygous and the females are heterozygous. So it's the opposite arrangements to us. And so we call bird chromosomes ZW instead of XY. Now, they still pass down in the same way. It's just that it's the female gamete that determines gender, not the male. And they have Dodrio as Terra Captain, which is pretty cool. Dodrio is fast and strong and really frail, but that's okay. You can Terra to get more damage. I like this team, aesthetically. Is it good? That remains to be seen, but you have to respect the birds. It's now midday, and the draft is officially done. Every single person has drafted their full team. Now, okay, that's actually not true. It's not done. The drafting part is done, but there's now a 24-hour period called Grace, where you have to declare your Terra types, so you get 1 stab type and 2 non-stab types, and you can switch any of your Pokemon out for any Pokemon that remain unpicked, as long as you have the points for it. So some teams might make some pretty drastic changes. For example, this team, the Steel City Cranks, has said that they're going to do 10 rolls on the random Pokemon wheel and choose if they want to take that Pokemon and replace one of their existing Pokemon. So This team might look quite a lot different tomorrow than it does now, because I think there's going to be quite a few Pokemon here that they want to take off their team. Minior, Samurott, Enamorus, Therian, and Palossand were the last 4 drafts. I mean, it's hard to say whether they improve things. Minior's like kind of good. I don't know. Probably wants Tera, which doesn't have. Enamorus Therian is kind of good. Does kind of the same thing as Cresselia, but that's okay. I mean, maybe there's synergy. Like Blissey, Palossand, Enamorus, Cresselia, you've got a kind of like defensive team plus Crawdaunt to break. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard of, but I also wouldn't say that it's exactly good. But we'll see. We'll see what Grace has in store. Next, we have the top slimes, the Sandstorm team, which is now finished. They've taken Ambipom and Sandslash as their 2 Tera captains, and then Shaman as their last pick. Kind of like Shaman here, gives them another water resist, which they desperately need. Ambipom is a cool Tera captain. I was considering it. Can't tell how good it is, but it's fun. You can Tera Normal plus Technician Fake Out, and have this like powerful flinch thing. Kind of likes Tera Ghost as well. Switches its only weakness to an immunity. I think it's a cool Tera captain. Sandslash, you can see what it's trying to do. Like, it's a Sandstorm team. It's got Sand Force, Sand Rush. The problem is, it's in a mole competition, and its opponent is Excadrill. And I don't think there's much Sandslash can do against... Like, this is like Daniel, the cooler Daniel. You know? Like, the only thing Sandslash has going for it is that it can Tera. But I don't think that makes it better than Excadrill. I think Excadrill is just, like, much better, and you probably are never going to bring both. So I'd be surprised if Sandslash saw much use, but then, I don't know, it's a 4-cost Tera captain. You're probably bringing Ambipom if you're bringing a Tera captain, which is cool. So that is the top slimes. Oh, they have less than 31 points remaining. In fact, they have 0. We also have, in the 8th corner, Arsenal, picking Thundurus, Appleton, and Chargebug as their last 3. Team looks very nice and well-rounded. I really like Cinccino. They'll probably... Oh, no, can they make it their Tera captain? Yes, they can. No, yes. Yes, they can. They'll probably make it their Tera captain, and then have Colossal or Cinccino, and then they'll bring one or the other as their hazard remover based on which one looks better for the game. They're both hazard removers, but they do pretty different things, so it's a nice kind of distribution of Tera. Thundurus is a pretty strong pick for this late in the game, and their team likes it. And then Chargebug is kind of a meme. Appleton's kind of a meme too, but it can do some stuff. It's decently bulky. So yeah, just solid looking team for Arsenal. One to watch out for, this team. And then we have the Houston Honedge, and they've drafted Sandslash, Alola, and Malamar as their 2 Tera captains, and then Electros as their last Pokemon. Now, none of these Pokemon are like exceptionally strong, but I really do like Malamar a lot. It's kind of one note, because all you do is click Superpower with Contrary and hope that you win. But it's fun with Tera, because you can do Tera Stellar, which is probably like maybe not even that good. Tera Fighting is probably better, but Tera Stellar debuffs you when you use Tera Blast and hits everything neutrally. But with Contrary, you go to the moon, you get stronger. So Tera Malamar is a really cool one. And then Alolan and Sandslash, usually used on Hail, but even without Hail, it really does appreciate Tera, because it has a Fortune's weakness to Fire and Fighting, which it would love to not have anymore, if it could help it. So overall, this is just like a pretty chill team, lots of fun guys. One of the teams I keep calling Honest, and I think it has remained that way. Could see some picks changing in Grace, depending on what they want, if they want to like have a more kind of streamlined focus for the team. But I don't think they need to. I think they can just play the game. Here, next, we have the Poliwrath team. Now, they've drafted Gengar, Altaria, and Delphox, but I think they might already have traded some in Grace, even though Grace just started. So don't take this team with too much certainty. I think by tomorrow, when I do the final recap, it'll be quite different. But for now, yeah, Gengar, Altaria, and Delphox, all nice folks. I don't know if you guys can hear my Discord bleeping in the background. That's people just like entering messages about Grace. So the action continues, but I'm here in the studio recording. Solid team. Gengar is pretty nice as a Pokemon this late in the game. And these two, they're there too. They're also you know, members. They're here. They're friends. We don't hate them. Okay, and then the final team is the Iraq Knackle Stack. Again with 11 Pokemon. So there's a little golem hiding under here. they've drafted some real low point guys. So Kamala, Ariados, and Golem are not the strongest peas in the pea pod, so to speak. But that's okay. I mean, they're starting Pokemon have enough strength to make it through. They haven't chosen their Terra Captain yet, so they've got 3 points left. Probably like Flygon and Kamala, or Flygon and Golem would be good choices. I guess Weezing too is pretty good. All of these teams, I think, have really come together. I don't think anyone, with the exception of this guy, I think everyone except for this guy can be pretty happy with their draft. If you're the Cramorants, the face really says it all, I think, for the Cramorants. But everybody else has a perfectly respectable selection of Pokemon. That's it. I will now start thinking about my Grace. And then tomorrow, I'll do a final daily video where I put all of the teams onto one PowerPoint slide and we can see how they line up. And then, yeah, we'll be ready to go.